She's beautiful, funny, captivating. You can't stop thinking about her, but deep down you feel something is missing. You're giving your all, and yet you're always left empty. It's like loving a black hole. No matter how much light you pour in, it disappears. Let's be real, in today's world, a lot of young men are bleeding emotionally. You chase validation, chase intimacy, and sometimes you give your heart to someone who can't hold it because they never learned how to hold their own. See, not every woman is ready to receive love. Some are full of holes, not physically, but emotionally. Deep gaps left by trauma, abuse, neglect, or validation addictions. And here's the truth that will save your life. A woman with big holes doesn't need a relationship. She needs healing. But you're not a repairman. You're not a savior. You're a man with his own soul to protect. This isn't about judgment. This is about survival. Today, I'm going to show you 7 clear signs of a woman with deep emotional wounds and how to spot them before they take you down with them. Because knowing this could be the difference between building your future and becoming someone else's emotional landfill. There's a difference between a woman who enjoys being admired and a woman who needs to be admired just to feel alive. You'll know the difference by how empty she feels after the likes fade or the room stops watching. She might be beautiful, stunning, even. You'll find her always online, always posting, always on. But what you don't see, what most men miss, is why she's doing it. Because behind that sultry pose, behind the laughter, behind the flirty captions, is a woman who's desperately asking, do I matter? Women with emotional holes crave constant attention because it's the only thing that temporarily quiets the voice inside that says, I'm not enough. She doesn't feel safe unless she's being watched. She doesn't feel loved unless she's being praised. And that's dangerous for a man like you, because you will never be enough to keep that craving satisfied. Today, it's your compliment that lights her up. Tomorrow, it's another man's DMs. Next week, it's 300 likes on a bikini photo and a girl, your fire, comment from strangers she doesn't even know. And when you try to build a deeper connection, real intimacy, real emotional presence, she'll pull away. Not because she doesn't want it, but because she doesn't know what to do with it. Attention is a performance. Validation is a wound. And if you can't see that early, you'll confuse her confidence for security. But it's not real security. It's borrowed from 100 thirsty stares. You'll feel drained trying to keep up, trying to prove your worth, trying to make her feel beautiful when she doesn't believe it herself. The hardest pill to swallow. She's not doing it to hurt you. She's doing it because somewhere in her story, someone taught her that being seen was the only way to be loved. But you're not a spotlight. You're not a cheer squad. You're a man, and you deserve mutual recognition, not endless reassurance. If the only time she lights up is when everyone else is watching, she doesn't need a boyfriend. She needs therapy. And you need to walk away before her emptiness becomes your emotional debt. Silence. It's the space where truth lives, and a woman who fears silence usually fears herself. At first, you might not notice it. She's always upbeat, always texting, always suggesting the next thing to do. The energy is exciting, intoxicating even. But give it time. Try sitting with her, just the two of you, no music, no distractions, no plans, just presence. You'll see it, the fidgeting, the sudden urge to check her phone, the random emotional outburst that seems to come out of nowhere, because stillness exposes wounds. For a woman with deep emotional holes, silence is terrifying. Why? Because it forces her to confront the thoughts she's been running from. The memories, the traumas, the shame, all the things she's buried under noise. So she stays busy. She fills her calendar. She jumps from friend to friend, party to party, man to man. It's not about connection. It's about escape. And if you're the kind of man who values peace, if you're building a life of emotional balance, clarity, and depth, then a woman like this will exhaust you. You'll start to feel like a circus act, constantly trying to entertain, distract, or soothe her discomfort. You'll feel the pressure to do more, when all you wanted was to be. But here's the truth you need to hear. If she cannot sit in silence with herself, she cannot sit in peace with you. Because relationships aren't just made of words and kisses. They're made in the quiet moments. The Sunday mornings with no plans. The car rides without music. The late night silences where the presence says more than speech. A woman who avoids silence will avoid depth. And a relationship without depth is just noise. Loud, busy, and ultimately empty. Now listen, she might be fun. She might even mean well, but she's not ready. Not yet. You need a woman who can breathe in stillness, who can meet you in the quiet and not feel afraid, because that's where real intimacy begins. Not in the chaos, not in the drama, but in the calm. So if her life is always loud, ask yourself when the noise dies down, who is she really? And are you willing to pay the price to find out? She wants your time. She wants your attention. She wants your energy, your presence, your words, your protection. But what does she give back? Not loyalty. Not peace. Not depth. Not love rooted in maturity. Just need. Endless, aching need. Because a woman with emotional holes often becomes a taker, not because she's evil, but because she's empty. And you, my brother, are seen as the well, the emotional ATM, the fixer, the provider, the one who's supposed to make her feel whole. She'll call it love. She'll say, "You make me feel safe," or "I've never felt this way before." But it's not love. It's dependency dressed up in romance. You'll begin the relationship strong, pouring in your best, hoping that if you just love her right, she'll finally feel secure. But over time, you'll start to notice something. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. She's still anxious, still suspicious, still pulling you into emotional arguments just to feel your presence more deeply, still testing your loyalty just to feel reassured, still needing you to remind her of her worth daily, hourly, endlessly. Because a woman who hasn't done her inner work can only survive by leaning into yours. And this is what makes her spiritually bankrupt. She has no emotional savings of her own. No peace, no anchor, no inner stillness to draw from when storms come. So the moment life gets hard, she crumbles. And guess who's expected to carry her? You, every single time. You'll go broke emotionally, trying to fill a void that doesn't belong to you. You'll burn out trying to meet her needs that only healing can fulfill. The hardest part, she's not malicious. She might even love you in the only way she knows how. But love without self-awareness becomes emotional debt, and you're the one paying the interest. A real woman, a healed woman, brings something to the table you can't put a price on: peace, purpose, and emotional wealth. Don't confuse a high-maintenance spirit with high value. A woman who drains you is not your destiny. She's your detour. Walk away before her emptiness empties you. You weren't in the relationship. You didn't hurt her. You weren't the liar, the cheat, the manipulator. But somehow, you're still being punished for his sins. Sound familiar? When a woman hasn't healed from her past, she carries it like a suitcase, not beside her, but between you. Everything you say, everything you do is filtered through the lens of what someone else did to her. You compliment her, she questions it. You come home late, she suspects you. You show love, she pulls back, because she's terrified it won't last. And if you try to reassure her, she might soften for a moment, but then the same patterns return. Why? Because unprocessed pain doesn't disappear, it repeats. Some women are still dating their exes emotionally. They carry unresolved stories, unfinished chapters, unhealed wounds. And here you are trying to write a new love story in a book she never closed. At first, you'll think it's empathy she needs, so you stay patient, you listen, you support. But over time, it turns into emotional babysitting, and you find yourself constantly proving you're not like him. But here's the hard truth. If a woman hasn't healed her past, she cannot give you a future. When every man in her life has been toxic, a narcissist, or just like the rest, and she has no accountability of her own, run. Because what she's telling you isn't just about them. It's about her. It's about how she chooses, how she refuses to self-reflect, how she confuses pain for passion and drama for love. Yes, we all have pasts, but emotional maturity means learning from them, not reliving them, healing from them, not projecting them. You are not her therapist. You are not a redemption story. You are a man with a heart that deserves to be met, not tested, not doubted, not dragged through her emotional mud just to prove it's real. A healed woman will honor your effort. A wounded woman will question your every move. So ask yourself, are you building something new? Or are you just another actor in her never-ending sequel? Don't stay to fix what's not yours. Her past doesn't need a boyfriend. It needs closure. You meet her and almost instantly, she opens up. You're different. You feel safe. You're everything I've prayed for. It feels good, even powerful, to be seen like that. But pause. Ask yourself, is she falling in love with me? Or with the idea of being saved? Women with emotional holes often mistake rescue for romance. They don't want partnership, they want salvation. And if you're not careful, you'll spend months, maybe years, trying to rescue someone who doesn't even know who she is outside her pain. She might be vulnerable, even fragile, and you'll feel this urge to protect her, to be the one who never hurts her. But here's the danger: she's not in love with you. She's in love with what you represent. Security, stability, a break from the chaos she's used to. And when the savior high fades, when you stop fixing and just start being, she'll start to withdraw. Because once you stop being her escape, you become her reality. And she never learned how to exist in a healthy one. Soon, you'll notice the shift. She'll become distant, irritated. She'll accuse you of changing, when in truth, she's just sobering up from the fantasy she created around you. See, real love isn't about saving someone. It's about meeting them, whole, conscious, and accountable. You're not responsible for what broke her. And you're not responsible for putting her back together. That's her job. That's her journey. But here's the tragic pattern. The very men who try to rescue broken women often end up broken themselves. Because love built on imbalance will always collapse. You were never meant to be her therapist, her life coach, or her emotional crutch. You were meant to be her partner, not her project. So when a woman loves you because you make her feel fix it, know that she'll stop loving you the moment she no longer feels broken. And that's not love. That's survival. Real love is not about being someone's miracle. It's about growing together. Two healed hearts, not one bleeding and one bandaging. So ask yourself, does she love me, or does she need me to rescue her from herself? If it's the latter, don't drown trying to save someone who's not even swimming, just clinging. True femininity is powerful, not because it demands, but because it receives, nurtures, anchors, and inspires. But when a woman has deep emotional wounds, when she's operating from a place of fear, insecurity, or unresolved trauma, her feminine energy doesn't flow naturally. It either becomes a costume or a weapon. You'll notice it in two extreme forms. One, the overperformer. She's hyper, feminine, seductive, sweet, overly agreeable, always dressed to impress. She says all the right things, makes you feel like a king, but somehow it doesn't feel real. That's because it's not. It's performance, a learned behavior. She's learned that if she acts soft, if she acts submissive, she'll be protected, validated, and chosen. But the moment you stop feeding that image, the moment you set a boundary or disappoint her in any way, the mask slips. You'll see the anger, the entitlement, the emotional manipulation. Because what looked like divine femininity was actually emotional control in disguise. Two, the masculine challenger. On the flip side, some women go full force into masculine energy. They're tough, independent, guarded. They need no one. They trust no one. Everything becomes a competition, even with you. But here's the truth behind all that power is often a wounded girl who learned that being soft only led to pain. So she armored up. She learned to dominate, to lead, to survive. And now any form of surrender feels like weakness, even if her soul is crying for rest. Whether she's over performing